Good afternoon, and welcome into the first Surgery at Noon, where every Friday for 30 minutes, we'll invite domain experts from all over the hobby to share data, insights, and their recommendations on characters, players, and prospects that you should be buying, selling, or trading right now. And to kick things off, one of my favorite MLB prospecting substacks, Beans and Rice Cards, welcome in Bryson.
What's up, Serge? How you doing, man? You still getting into fights on Twitter, or are you done?
I'm big chilling, bro. I'm 2 blunts in. It's Friday. I can't complain.
It's just me and my dog, Rick Ross, the boss dog. See, say what's up, Ricky. He's my prospect. He's my prospecting analytic assistant. He
Period.
gives me all the stuff.
Period. It already looked like he's kicking off Summer Friday.
Oh yeah, he's ready. He's chilling.
All right, so we got 30 minutes. Let's hop right in. Bryson, give me your top 10 prospects on the fringe of call-up. Who should we be watching right now?
Yeah, man. So I would say, so when you say call-up, I think that the way prospecting has gotten, it used to be, you save your cards until homeboy, goes from AAA or AA to the majors. And I think that people are getting smarter about maybe not always buying directly into that hype. And so I'll give you some folks that I'm watching that are not only just going to the majors, but going from like complex league to single A or low A to high A, and just dudes that I like. Okay. So
it'd be fair.
So one guy
sorry, I was just going to ask, it'd be fair to say that these are going to be relatively value buys.
I think for the most part, I have a couple guys that are a little bit over $100, but some of these guys I like just regardless. I still think all these dudes have levels to reach when it comes to, pricing, if you will.
Period. Let's get into it, Doc. I'm excited to see your list.
All right. So number one, and this is kind of a new one for me, and I was thinking about this list last night, but Steele Hall. So Steele Hall is an 18-year-old that was drafted last year out of high school. He's in the Cincinnati Reds system. The big word on him coming out the draft was, 70, 80 grade speed, athlete, and, maybe not growing into as much power. However, he is destroying the complex league right now. So in 18 games, he's got 4 home runs. His OPS is over 1,000. He's got 9 stolen bases in 18 games. And I think the biggest thing for me that really kind of changed my opinion on him was somebody posted his batting stance and his just swing mechanics. And he looks so much different. And his mechanics are just so much more balanced. He's tapping into more power. And so right now he's a $60 auto. And so for me, I'm like right now I'm sitting on a true orange offer, right? And so when we get into like kind of the parallels and just the traditional, the one thing I like about Bowman, right, and the Bowman autos is there's like a traditional hierarchical agreed upon parallel multiplier, if you will. So, say his Bowman regular auto is $60. Well, a true blue should be roughly 4 to 5 times that, right? So that would be $300 ish, right? A true gold should be about 10x that. So that's what, $600. A true orange should be about 1,200 of that. And then you look at, doubling that for a PSA 10, which we can talk about your opinions on the PSA pause, upcoming. But, I'm looking to buy some serious color of him. So if I can get a true orange of Steele Hall right now in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, something that I'm really trying to get after. So there's a true orange on there. Yeah, so there you go. That true blue is a good one. It's a blue wave though, so I try to stick to true color. But I think this guy could have some helium as far as kind of once he gets to low A, just what the swing looks like. Yeah, there's a true blue right there. The only thing I'd say about that is it's out of a consigner. I don't know. We can talk about consignment and whatnot, but I usually try to stick away from buying raw cards from consigners because they're cooked. But if the price is right, the price is right, right? So yeah. So I think in the future, like well-centered, not too bad. In the future, this guy's cards, like if you think about where, like he's from the South, he's a high schooler, 18 years old, tons of speed, lots of talent, right? I'm not saying he's Connor Griffin, but he's got like some of the whispers of this kid could be special, right? And so what's the ceiling for a true orange of this kid if he really produces, right? I mean, you're talking 10K, right? I think that there's an easy double up opportunity if you buy this card, a true orange for $1,750 within 6 to 9 months, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot to chew on there. But what are you thinking?
No, I'm loving what you're putting down. So would you argue that like an offer on something like this red here, because like I might as well just go already graded. This is more real, like 5,000 to 7,500. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean it's an X factor, right? So like, it's always difficult for me to parse out what that would do from like a true red, right? So I would say it's probably what 50% of what a true red would be because of that, but it's a PSA 10.
Yeah.
So like let's say his auto gets up to $100, right? And you're talking reds are roughly 30 to 50x that. So like 50x $100 would be $5,000.
Yeah.
Half of that be 2,500. PSA 10 it. So yeah, I'd say that card is probably worth the somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 5 with a higher ceiling, right?
Period. No, I like
yeah.
it just because the color nuance being the red's a red kind of gets me over the hump if I had any lack of desirability, because to your point, not true red, but I'm hoping that the addressable market broadens given that it's a team color match.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would look back at his comps. I was looking at his comps last night, and like that true orange that I'm looking at, like he's had, obviously he's in the last release. So like upon release date, he did some crazy sales, right? In the 2000 high 2000s. And I think there's a PSA 10 in like the high 3s. So that gives you some like margin, right? Of what you could do in that. But like, do I think that a true orange at 1750 on a kid that has a lot of potential? Do I think that it's going to go much further, right? You cut your losses at 1,200 if you need to, but like, I think that there's a lot of possibility for him. So that Steel Hall, I'd say, is the guy that I'm eyeing right now. I added it to my eBay filter of like any new card that gets posted, I check it out and make an analysis of it.
Period. I mean, from a pop culture perspective, I love his name. Like commentators have a ball with it.
Yeah. So like we talked about this, right? About like he's got a nice auto, right? It's a one name auto. Like we'll talk about my kind of guys that I really like from a just long term perspective, and the thing about him is he's got a good looking auto, right? His cards look nice, right? There's some cards that don't look nice. Like, I mean, we talk about Esmeralda Valdez, like we talked about that before, right?
Yeah.
Homeboy's got a weird name, and his signature looks weird, and he can rake. Like he raked in the AFL, he got called up, he hit home runs, but like it's just I don't think he's as intriguing as someone like Steel Hall, who's younger, maybe has people buy into hype and potential, and I think that kid's got a little bit more.
Just say Steel Hall one more time because it just sounds so cool. It's like a top-notch logger or something, bro. Just sounds lit.
Yeah, I love that. So Steel Hall, I'm digging it.
All right, so besides Steel, who's next?
All right, so let's stay in the complex league. I love my boy Josuar Gonzalez. So,
dude, I love him too.
Yeah, he also great name. So he got signed out of the Dominican Republic, right? And I think some of the things that really intrigue me about him are there's kind of you hear these little whispers, right? I was watching something the other day maybe it was a couple months back on YouTube about, how he made a surprise kind of appearance stateside. And the word got out, and everybody was like, "Oh, Josuar's here! Like, we need to go see this kid play, right?" So when you already get that hype, I think that's really interesting. And in that game, he like roped a triple and had an inside the park home run. So it's just like his lore is there, right? I mean, this kid has twitch beyond belief, and I think when you look at like, collectible fan bases, I think San Fran is itching for somebody to get behind, and those guys, like if you look at he's too good for the complex league, right? In 13 games he's hitting 421, OPS of 1.2, he's walking a bunch, switch hitter, moves well at shortstop. So this kid could play everyday shortstop with 4 to 5 tool potential, right? In a collectible fan base. And the crazy thing about him is that there's another dude in their system named Luis Hernandez who may be a little bit off the Bowman radar for everybody, but he's younger, and he's probably not a shortstop. He'll probably move to third base, but he's got maybe more power. So those two, in my opinion, are going to be like the next Made Luis Pena moving forward. And I think Josuar just has a huge ceiling. So full disclosure, like I own a red sapphire of Josuar, right? I'm sitting on it. I own True Blue of him. Like I think his potential is high, right? I mean, we're talking any DR types of short, like Tatis level, who's, you know, having a little bit of down year, but like his ceiling is really high, right? I mean, so I love Joswar. I think he's got a ton of potential. Cool looking auto, cool looking, you know, dude. I mean, he could go by one name, right? Joswar.
No, yeah, he reminds me of like West Coast Nomar. Remember when Nomar was in Boston? Like Nomar Joe Swar. It's like he's West
Yeah.
Coast Nomar, just a little bit cooler, new age, you know. And
Yep.
you hinted at this. Like I love the youth and the young nucleus that the Giants have. Like you have Elridge, Young Ho Lee. I just think you have a really diverse set of players with a lot of marketability, which for card buying always works in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm big on Joswar. He's too good for the level. He's going to get called up, I think, to go to low A. And honestly, I think he's going to destroy low A, and I think he'll be on a rise. So and the kid's just.
I was gonna say this seems like a steal now. Like this, I have this auction here on PSA. Like for 250 on a PSA 10 for something under 100. Like this, and dude, his auto is pretty clean. Reminds me of Herbie, a little not as high, but dude, this is sick. Feels like a steal, honestly.
Yeah. So I like him. I mean, his base autos right now are going like $75 to $80, right? So I mean, yeah, this is at that price range. Like I think it's good, right? So I mean, I don't know what you think about this. I hated the year that they released his autos, right? Mm-hmm. They did the mini diamonds out of 100, and they did the speckle out of 299. And I mean, I hate the mini diamonds. There's like very different. I've honestly stopped buying mini diamonds. That's the only knock on this card, mainly because there's not a ton of separation between mini diamond and speckle outside of the fact that one's numbered to 100 and one's numbered to 299, right? Like,
no, for sure.
Yeah, so like I love the atomics out of 100. Bring back the atomics hashtag. But I mean, like
cracked ice always for the win. You feel me?
Yeah. You know, I'm a baseball guy, so they don't do cracked ice.
No, but like I just meant like cracked ice is very similar, like in Panini world, to like Sapphire and Atomic, where you have that ice effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the most recent release, they did like a Bowman logo fractor, which almost looks kind of like Atomic out of 35, though. So,
yo, side note on that, dog. Did you see the new Bowman fractor, like the bubblegum wax refractor?
No. Yeah, I've seen that. What do you think about it? It's kind of polarizing. The green one. You could probably search one up here.
Yeah. Let's look. Let me see if I can pull one up. This is 2026.
They're called pack fractor.
Pack fractor. Yeah, exactly.
They're 89, I want to say, is what they are.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. 89. Yo, bro, I think the design, like aesthetically, let's see here. Let's pull it up here.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think?
Okay, like the design for me is so overwhelming. Like I'm more of a minimalist per se. However, I think that this is going to really speak to, I think, the boomer and the Gen X buyers that kind of live through the junk wax, that actually rip these wax packs open, because I think there's something nostalgic about the design. So, I mean, obviously prioritize top players and be selective, but that's my take on it. But for me personally, I would just I'll capitalize on selling these. I will not hold them.
Yeah, I mean, so I've already sold. So I pulled a Pack Fractor Florentino. It was a redemption, and I sold that one pretty quickly because at call up, you know, or at release date. But yeah, I mean, all the new parallels. You know, I think my favorite of the new parallels are the gold ink variation to 15, like the black background with the gold ink.
Oh, dude, those are so clean.
Those are so clean, right? I think that's the one that's going to have the most amount of long-term relevance, if you will. Like, look at that. I mean, like, they're hard to grade though too. Like, let me see if I can show you. So like I have a couple.
Well, interesting. Dude, let me take this off so you can show that.
So like, so I mean, it's just clean. Like, it's a PSA 10 of Ethan. I'm an Astros dude, so like I collect Astros guys. So like it's the thing about these cards is like you can kind of see on some of these, like it's hard to see right now, but there's like some little gold specks. See kind of right here.
Yeah.
This got me a PSA 10, but I had a card of the Xavier Nyans, the same one. You know, we looked at it together, and it got a PSA 8, right? And so I think that these cards numbered to 15, I don't think that they're going to gem super. The gemming's going to be all over the place about whether they're going to ding people for the backs of the cards. So I wish the Xavier would have gemmed and the Frey would have gotten the 8, but you know, whatever. But I think that it's a sick looking new design. So I'm a big fan of it.
No, I was going to say echo that. Yeah, no, I love them. I think they look super clean. And if you can, I know the backside is always going to be hard because I think on this year, like you have soft corners and stuff like that. But prioritizing nice autographs with the gold ink, I think, will help maintain desirability, even if you have something like off-centerness or a soft corner. Just because I think, to your point, the gold ink is just so cool.
Yeah, like that. Like I would say, like I sent that Xavier Nines in for grading and got an 8, and I'm like, well, I'll just keep it in the PC. You know, I think it's a cool PC card. Like I love it, and so I think that's one of the coolest new designs. I like it better than the Pack Fractor. I do like the black and white shimmer with the red ink auto that they got recently. I think those are cool. They're not numbered, but everybody thinks that they're about 30 copies, and I like those too. Yeah, I've got some of those. So they look like, here's one. I got my boy Kevin Alvarez. Who's another Astro, but like I just think that's a clean look. Like, you know, anything that's got a red ink, I think in the hobby, when you look at like Topps Heritage, you know, those red ink autos always pop. And so the fact that they brought that into Bowman, I think is really neat. And if they keep that, I really like these copies, and they're selling anywhere between like an orange and a red. And I would rather have this than like a black out of 10, you know? So that's kind of where they're selling it right now.
I feel you. I mean, dude, you low-key have a label match if you get the PSA 10 with the red ink. It's kind of like it almost makes like a 3D effect, like just naturally given the design. These are sick. They're super clean.
Yeah. I mean, I'll show you one that like, I mean, I was going to talk about, should I talk about my boy Rainier right now? Or
let's go into that.
All right, my boy Rainier.
All right, so is this, all right, I know you're big on him. Is this your set the comp boy?
This is one of my set the comp boys. Like, Rainier Rodriguez does not get enough respect. Put some respect on my boy's name. Like,
all right, give the man his flowers. Why should we be buying him?
Full disclosure, I own his Papa 101 auto too. So like,
show that shit. Show it right now. Let's go.
Yeah, let me get it. It's
you can't be teasing like that. You can't be like, hey, I got this. I'm not gonna show you now.
I got a ton of Rainier, and you know, we talked about this. I'm probably gonna send it into BGS just because I don't think it'll gem, but I mean it's a 101, so like you and I talked a little bit about like what a 101 means, you know. Here. Look at that. It's so I think it's a little off center, but like it's a beautiful card, and like,
man, it don't matter.
You know, anyway,
it's a first auto, bro, on the Papa. Like,
on
off center, not off center, it don't matter. It's priceless.
Yeah. So I mean, so Rainier Rodriguez. So here's some information. I know a lot about Rainier, right? Because I went deep into him whenever he came out on release date.
I remember.
Yeah. And so like this kid is from the DR, but he went to high school in the Northeast. So like speaks really good English. You know, definitely a marketable kid. He's kind of short. That's the only knock on him, I would say. I think they say he's like 5'10", but like he's a wholesome kid that posts like, you know, pictures of him and his like, I guess, fiance or something, and she might be taller than him, right? That international refract. Let's talk about that in a second. But like, so he's kind of short, but dude can pull the ball, right? So here's a couple stats.
Hit me.
2025, last year, there were 2 players in minor league baseball that had 200 plate attempts, an OBP of over 350, an ISO over 25, a walk rate over 10, and most importantly, a K percentage of under 20%. It was Rainier Rodriguez and Kevin McGonigal. Those are the only 2 guys, right? And also, here's the more crazy one that I think got my attention is in 2025, as of 2025, there were see, there you go. See, he's not gonna Wander Franco your ass. Like, look at that. Nobody posts pictures in your like little red PJ pants.
Honestly, bro, like man to man, he looks like he has his priorities in check, and he hit the lock in. He hit the lock in button a long time ago.
Yeah, dog. So I mean, that's one of my things. Like, you don't want to spend a lot of money on a dude for him to go like, you know, crazy, you know, be CJ Abrams at the casino. But so here's the craziest stat. Okay. As of 2025, in the history of minor league baseball, there have been 9 18-year-olds, that had 250 minimum plate attempps and 150 WRC plus.
9?
Mike, 9 in history. You ready?
Yo, shout out Juliana Moore one time, Crazy Stupid Love. Yeah, when she was like 9. Yeah, that's how you hit me right now with the 9, bro.
Yeah, so 9. So Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Giancarlo Stanton, Wander Franco, Jackson Chourio, Fernando Tatis Jr., Freddie Freeman, Samuel Basallo, and Rainiel Rodriguez. So I mean, like, dude can rake. I mean, he jumps off the page on the Statcast. Like, he's 19 years old. He's got a $100, if not sub $100 auto. Like, I think that St. Louis fans are looking for the next Pujols. Like,
Yeah.
he's not as big as him, but his statistics, like, they're unparalleled in minor league baseball. So, like, I don't know, he's my dude. Like, I'm like, set the comp for him. I have a lot of faith in him. He's young. The only thing I will say is he's a little short. But like, short kings out there, man. Like, I know you and I aren't short kings. Like, you a little taller than me, but like, the short kings out there are gonna like really, they're gonna really see Rainey and be like, man, I could be a baby Hulk like him. So
I mean,
anyway,
he's 5'10". I wouldn't necessarily classify him as a short king. I think like when you hit 5'8", that's when we're like, yo, bro, you need some stilts, you know. But like, it's all good.
he might be 5'8". I don't know. Whenever he gets to the bigs, they'll have to do the ABS. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but like when they did ABS measurement of all the players in MLB, like a bunch of dudes shrunk like 2 or 3 inches. So we'll know when he hits the pros, which I think, like, he's already in AA right now, and I think that over the year he'll probably get. I think we'll see AAA next year, and he'll DH. You know, at 21. I think the ceiling for this kid is way higher than $100, and so I'm all in on Rainiel. It's my dog. Good Rainiel. Yep.
All right, dog. Well, I know prospecting ain't easy, but talk to us a little bit about like all the sources and all the that you go to for finding all the prospect information. Like, what's your go-to spots?
Yeah, man, there's so much data out there that's free. You know, I mean, like, if you go to YouTube, like, shout out to like all the YouTube creators out there. I mean, the CEO podcast is kind of a relatively new one. One of those guys on there, I think his name is Eric Mandelkern. He created an app called Kern's something. I can't remember. I'll show you what it looks like. Like, it's a great app for just catching up with what everybody is doing. It's called the Prospect Club. But you can put like all of the dudes that you're following, and it'll show you like their stats on the season, like how they performed last night. You can get alerts. So like, that's one. Baseball America, like, you don't even have to subscribe to Baseball America, but they put out content, you know, pretty much every day where you can follow, you know, what they're talking about. So like YouTube, you know, going to X, following some of those guys that I think have some really interesting, you know, perspectives out there. Like Eric Cross is a big guy that I follow. You know, Bob from Big Bob's, like, I think he's a great analyst. Looks at some good stuff there. I pay for the Scout the Stat Line. That's a website that not super expensive, but they identify trends in folks, I think, a little bit quicker than others. And from there, like, I made my own like little AI app, right? I mean, everybody's vibe coding these days. So like, I went on Claude and plugged in a bunch of data and said, you know, so every day it runs a report for me, and I go look at like breakouts and who's been performing, and that usually feeds to my Substack. So there's so much out there. It's just you gotta do a little bit of the hustling, right? So that's kind of where I get my data from.
Period. Well, do you mind dropping in your Substack link, or I can do it too as well?
Yeah, drop it in. Yeah.
Let me drop that in right now.
You want? I'll give you some other. I know we're here for 30 minutes. Let's get some guys that I think, some quick hitters. How about that?
Let's do it. Give me the quick hitters. Like, let's light it up.
All right. Okay. Devin Fitzgerald is tearing up the minors right now. He's 20 years old.
You love the Rangers, bro.
Yeah. Well, he's not a
Ranger. Texas boys. You love the Texas boys.
I love the Texas boys. Being in Austin, right? Shout out to all my Austin dudes. But like, he got traded in the Mackenzie Gore trade, so he's in the Washington National system now. But he's 20 years old. He has Rangers on his Bowman card, but he's got a lot of whispers of McGonigal, right? Kind of a smaller dude, but great hit tool. Coach's kid, and the biggest thing for him is his power uptick, right? He's hit 12 homers in high A, and his K percentage is 15%. So those are the two things I look at: OPS and K percentage. If you look at nothing else, those are two. If you can have a strikeout percentage of under 20% and you have an OPS of over 800, I'm interested, right? Because it's showing that you're in the zone, selecting good pitches, and you're not just striking out. So I think he's got the next potential McGonigal rise. I mean, last year I was buying autos of him for like $5-10, and now they're 50-60. So like, he's definitely gone up, but I think he's got some more room to run. So Devin Fitzgerald, 20 years old, love him. Yep, that's him. Yeah, cool looking auto too. Like there's a red ink auto that I think is pretty cool. 749. Yeah. Okay. What is that? PSA 9?
Yeah, PSA 9.
That's cool. I mean, because I think I got one of those here somewhere.
Let's take a look. Let's see what's I always have these like defaults filters. I go like see what's ending. I try to snipe everything tonight.
Yeah, I usually do auction and auctions with bids. That's
Exactly.
kind of my go-to filter. Yeah,
Dude, same Z's. Dude, it's orange. I mean, not true, but shimmer to 25, relatively low in price.
yeah. But DC is selling that, so that's gonna be cooked, dog.
No, yeah,
cooked.
I mean, I see the off-centeredness just in the thumbnail image.
And you
But
ain't
that, like,
not gonna be
honestly, I've made a killing though. Like, there's a lot of things I buy that I just anticipate that the market will rapidly appreciate for it over the next 90 days. So, like, I always am interested nonetheless. But I feel you.
Fair.
All right. So,
What do you think about this pause of PSA? Like, I mean, they paused it for. I know you and I, when we submitted, when I was getting into grading, you were always like, Value Plus produces the most amount of gems with like the amount, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I know. Can you talk about PSA? I don't know. They mad at your ass. You
I mean, I don't really understand why they're mad. I just, I tweet the truth. I just show facts. I don't modify images. It is what it is. But I mean, my thoughts on it. I feel like it's a long time coming. I feel like it validates their acquisition strategy over the last year, specifically BGS and SGC. I think if anything, like my experience in evals and prep and submissions was that it's extremely hard to scale. There's a lot of nuance with it. And ultimately, we're all just humans. We make mistakes, but it's hard to make mistakes with high value items. So for me, I think in order to scale that as a product or service, I think they're actually doing the right thing because ultimately you're going to need to segment your product and service and then align your brand messaging to fit the audiences that you're targeting. And I believe that the pieces that they've acquired, specifically BGS, having PSA and SGC, it allows you to target 3 different segments of collectors. So you can kind of use SGC for maybe vintage low end, BGS for mid range, and like PSA for kind of high end. And if you think about it from like a traditional software, that's typically how you break out different segments from SMB, mid market, and enterprise. So I feel like for them, it's a good move because it ultimately helps them better scale. Because I think trying to service one type of collector that can range so much, and I feel like if they're an auto shop, they're currently they're doing maintenance on Astons, McLarens, and Lycans next to like Kias, and that's just really hard. That's just really hard to do.
Yeah, I will say that I'm probably going to be exploring more BGS submissions in the upcoming year, just simply because. Being in Austin, right down the road, and the turnaround times, I was surprised at how, you told me a pretty quick, 5 days, it's like $175. It's not crazy. Like the turnaround times are really easy. I don't love the holders, but I'm playing in the mid-range game for the most part. I'm talking if I'm going to grade something at $250 to $1,000 is kind of where I'm at. So I think BGS is probably going to be something I'm going to explore, because if you BGS 9.5 it, you're not adding PSA 10 value, but you're still adding decent value, right?
No, totally. I echo all of your sentiment. And if you're in Texas or kind of the Midwest, you get it pretty much next day with their standard ground. So that's also cool. And to your point, I think BGS is a really cool scratcher at the gas station. It's with the scratcher you get for $10 to $20 that has the 6 plays, but then a side play. Because ultimately, and you allude to this, I think, at one end of the grading spectrum, specifically at the gem mint spectrum, which is you can get a 9.5 and have more resale value than just having a 9. So you get that bump, but also you get a free shot at a black label. So if you want to go 10x on the last PSA 10 sold, you kind of get that freebie play without the upcharge that's currently at PSA.
How much does a black label from a multiplier do compared to a PSA 10?
Typically, it ranges, right? Obviously it's going to be circumstantial, and a lot of that's going to be driven on the market for a specific player in TCG or athlete in sports. But typically it's anywhere between 7 and 10x the PSA 10 last sold.
Interesting. For me, I think that's interesting. I like the way that the PSA slab looks, but lately it's just been so unpredictable with what you're going to get from them. People have been just getting cooked. Right. With some of their submissions on PSA and the turnaround times. If I have from a risk tolerance, right? I don't want to send in a card that I think could get a PSA 8 or 9. I would much rather have a higher chance of getting a 9.5
Yeah.
than that, if I don't think it's going to gem. So I think BGS is definitely going to be something that I'm going to explore a lot more in the upcoming future.
I think one thing that I agree. And one thing that I don't think gets enough attention is the discrepancy between how PSA slabs sports and how PSA slabs TCG. And what I mean by this is like, I've graded like thousands across both, and there is a significant difference in quality. And I would say PSA has actually higher quality on sports than TCG, which is really baffling because I've seen like shadowless first edition Zards in like genuinely the cheapest crackable PSA slab that I can crack with my hands. And then
Did you say like, Zards?
Charizard, yeah, my boy Zards. But then you'll have like X Factor. Then you'll have like an X Factor Cooper flag and like encapsulated in the additional layer. I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing here? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think BGS has a lot of room for improvement, but I think the things that they can do that will, increase the desire for grading with them is they already did that with the slab redesign. Everyone likes something new, shiny, and pretty. It just gives you a freebie to talk about. I think number 2 that they just totally miss on is like post grading images. Like, can we get scans, bro, so we can share it? Like, you're killing my virality, and inherently you're killing your earned media value. So I just think those 2 improvements would, like, you'll see a natural uptick, because ultimately to have resale value, you need to be able to have marketability, and BGS just lacks on that right now.
Gotcha. Well, love it. Okay, so let me give you some more folks that I like. All right.
All right, give me some more that will pop off.
All right. Carlos Legrand, 23 years old.
That's the Yankees, right?
Yeah, Yankees. He went viral in preseason because he like got Aaron Judge on a 103-mile-an-hour heater, right? His command is improving. I don't think he'll ever be a starter, but if the Yankees make a postseason run, I could see him getting a call-up later this year to give them some relief innings, and nothing sells better than just dude that throws pure gas. So he popped, came back down. His base autos are still a little more expensive than I want at $80, but like Yankee throws gas. Yeah, there it is. Like that. I remember when that came up, his cards went up like 3 to 5x overnight. Like,
okay,
he's a big old boy. Like, so I still think there's some room there, right? I think there's some room with him coming back. So
do you think he'll stay in the Yankees, or do you think he moves?
No, I think he'll stay in the Yankees. I think they're going to make him a reliever. But like, if he's a closer, imagine a World Series closer with this dude just throwing 100-mile-an-hour gas. Like the eyeballs.
Exactly.
There's the potential that.
Dude, I love that. It's like an entire buying strategy of mine. It's like championship coattail effect. It's like, who are the teammates of superstars that are on championship contending teams? And the obvious 3 for me are like Dodgers, Yankees, Spurs.
Yeah. So he's a Yankee, period, right?
Bomber,
Another guy that I think he's expensive, but like there's 2 pitchers that I think are expensive that I think are still have room to go up. One is Cade Anderson. People have him as like the number 1 LSU kid, 22 years old. He's just dominating the minors, right? I think that Seattle could call him up later in the year. So like you could play the call up fringe for him. So Cade Anderson, he's also got a really good looking auto. And I would go. So yeah, go 20. He was in the 2025, but there it is. There. Yeah. Beautiful car. Like it just looks stoic. Like, I think it's just real elegant.
I'm about to say, I thought he was a One Piece character real quick. He looks good.
Yeah, he's got that jawline. He doesn't have that Kyle Tucker jawline. He's got that real jawline, right? So I like him.
Okay.
You and I have talked about Seth. I made a lot of money already on Seth Hernandez, but I still think there's some room to run on homeboy. Like Seth Hernandez, let's just talk about him, right? 19.
Yeah.
Just he's got all the tools, right? He's got the spin. Yes. He's got the fastball, throws gas. But like the thing about him, his best pitch is probably his changeup, which is crazy, right? So if anytime you hear throws 100, but his best pitch is a changeup, and he's in the zone, like, and he's got one of the coolest. Like, look at that auto. He signs 22 on it. Auto is great. Like,
yeah, this is hard.
Yeah, dude. So he's gone from like, I remember. So you can pull this up too, but like I tuned into his first start. I want to say it was in like spring training. They have that like spring breakout series.
Yeah.
And the first batter he faced was Max Clark, who gets a lot of eyeballs as well. And he threw a plus 100 heater to him, and Max Clark like back up and was like, whoa, you know what I mean? So like that as soon as I saw that, I went on eBay and bought every single base auto at $200 that I could.
Yeah.
And like, he's one of those guys that he was a 2-way player. Mm-hmm. He's built like a tank, so less prone to injuries. He's in Pittsburgh, right? Who's the other guys just like that? Paul Skeens, right? So, and this guy's got probably more pedigree than Paul did at the age. So like,
say, dog, Pirates look nice.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
The Pirates are going to be good. Florentino's in the new release. He's popping. So I think Seth Hernandez is a stud.
I was a big Brewers fan. Like I had like ever since Sal Frelick got there, like I just liked that team so long before even Jackson. But I'm also a fan of small markets. But I have this hunch, bro. I don't know why. Like if the Pirates just in the next 3 years magically make it to the World Series, I would not be surprised.
Well, I mean, you got to look at also like reading about the potential work stoppage, right? And where there's a salary cap floor and a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
The Pirates might have to go out and buy more talent, and they've already got a ton. And you know, everything that you're reading about with what their draft strategy is, like they're going to look for a college arm because they want to win maybe more quickly now than they have in the past. So like I saw that Jackson Flora kid who's from UCSB pitching probably tomorrow here in Austin. I'm going to the game. Shout out Horns. But I think that they could be going in on it early because they have such a unique talent pool right now from their pitching with Connor Griffin there. They've got some stuff. So I mean, they're not that far. So yeah, Pittsburgh, I think they have some brightness in their future.
Period. Well, shoot, man. I appreciate the time today and you joining.
Absolutely, big guy. Let's do it again, okay?
Let's do it, man. Well, you enjoy the weekend. Get your Friday popping, dog. I'll see you around.
All right, big guy. Talk to you
Be
later.
easy, dog. Bye.
Bye.